rain on the window pane. Hey, night listener. Tonight, we enter the shadows. The rain taps gently on your window, like fingers too polite to knock. A neon sign flickers down the block, half lit, half forgotten, casting a sickly pink glow that spills over cracked sidewalks. The street is empty, but you still don't feel alone. You hear your footsteps. You hear theirs, too. The air smells like wet brick and regret. If this story found you, maybe it's because you've been followed too. So, before we vanish into this mystery, like the video and subscribe only if you can handle the truth buried beneath the lies. Drop a comment. Where are you listening from, and what drives you more, the truth, the thrill, or the justice? Now lock your doors, take a deep breath, and follow me into the dark. You don't remember how the girl came to be in your arms. You were on the trail just past the cemetery fence, your usual midnight ritual, since sleep stopped showing up. A cold wind had whipped through the trees, and there she was, barefoot, pale, clutching a stuffed rabbit that had seen too many bad nights. She didn't cry. She just looked at you and said, "You found me." Your hands trembled as you pulled off your coat to wrap her up. You called the police, gave your name, location, everything. But something about her eyes made it hard to speak. Green, too green. The report from last week said brown. You brushed it off. Kids change, stress, trauma. Right. They came, took statement, snapped photos, thanked you, called you a good man. But now, standing on the porch of the address they gave you, the one that matches her file, you knock. A woman opens the door, mid-30s, blonde, careful makeup. Behind her, a hallway filled with toys. And when she sees the girl, her face drains white, then twists, then explodes. Who the hell is this? You blink. It's your daughter. You say? She slaps you. Hard. I don't have a daughter. You stagger. Your name is Michelle Harper. You filed the report. This is Ava. But Michelle's hands start shaking, not like fear, more like rage. Controlled. Focused. There is no Ava. She says, not mine. Not anyone's. Take her back. The girl buries her face in your chest. She doesn't speak. Michelle slams the door before you can answer. You stand there for a full minute, heartbeat ricocheting through your ribs. Thunder rolls low and mean behind you. The girl slips something into your hand. It's a photograph, faded, old. You holding her, and you're smiling. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Your phone buzzes, an unknown number. You answer. No voice, just breathing. Then a whisper. You were supposed to forget. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You look at the girl. She's watching you, waiting. Rain runs in rivulets down the back of your neck, into your shirt, cold as regret. Somewhere behind that slammed door, a hallway light flickers. In the flash, you see a shape moving deeper into the house. Someone else is inside. You turn back toward your car. The photograph burns in your pocket. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. The photograph that doesn't exist, you shouldn't go back in. Not after that. But you do, because the photograph is real and it's impossible. You hold it to the dome light inside your car, your fingers trembling like you're clutching a trigger. The image is curled and grainy, the kind that comes from drugstore film and long-lost albums. You in your old leather jacket, the one you burned after the case went cold. You holding this child like she was always yours, only you never had a child. And the photo isn't dated. There's a house behind you in the image, 2 stories, peeling white paint, a cracked window on the second floor like a lazy eye staring out over the yard. and something else scratched into the corner of the photo in faint blue pen. Don't forget again. You put the car in gear, but don't drive. A memory scratches at the back of your skull. A hallway, dim light, the sound of water dripping. You shake it off. The girl, Ava, is sitting in your passenger seat, swinging her legs slightly, still barefoot. She hasn't said a word since the doorstep. You ask, "Do you remember this photo?" She nods. "Where was it taken?" A pause. Then, "Your house." Your stomach drops like a trapdoor. You've never had a house with a yard. You've never stood on a porch with a child. At least, not that you remember. You drive. Not home? You don't trust home right now. Instead, you go to the only place left open past midnight, your old partner's studio apartment. 3rd floor. Always smells like paint thinner and regret. He doesn't ask questions when you show up. He never does. But when you hand him the photo, he goes still. This was taken 10 years ago. He says, "That jacket, that house, that was the Rayburn case." You blink. "What?" He looks up at you. "The kid that went missing, the one we never found. That girl wasn't green-eyed. She didn't have eyes left to check." The room feels colder now. Ava clutches her stuffed rabbit like it's a lifeline. "Didn't you? Your partner starts, then stops." "No, forget it. Say it. I thought you were off the case early. You got too close. Had some kind of breakdown. They buried the files. You pull out your phone, search the department archive, the cold case log. No mention of the Rayburn file. No missing Ava. Just a 404 page that reads, 'Access revoked.' You've been erased before." You ask Ava quietly, "Did someone tell you to find me?" She nods once. "He said you'd remember. Eventually." "Who?" A long silence. Then she says, "The man in the mirror." Your breath stops. There's a mirror across the room. Not a large one. Just a wall-mounted square above a chipped sink. And it's fogging up. Nobody's breathed on it. But it's fogging. You walk over. Wipe it clean. Behind your reflection, just for a moment, something moves. A shadow steps back, and scrawled across the glass like it was written from the other side is a word. Return. You spin around. Nothing. Ava still sits quietly, rabbit in hand, watching your every move. What if you've been the suspect all along? You're shaking now. You open your coat pocket. The photo is gone. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. Her eyes don't match the file back at the precinct. They used to call it detail drift. Eyewitnesses misremember things all the time. The color of a coat, the height of a suspect, the way a scream sounded from the other side of a door. It was normal. Human memory was unreliable, but you were trained, conditioned to never miss the details. And Ava's eyes, they were never green. You pull into a diner off Highway 6, the kind that's open all night for drifters and people with heavier baggage than suitcases. Neon buzzes overhead. The booth vinyl sticks to your skin. You sit across from Ava and order her pancakes, mostly so you don't have to look at those eyes while you think. You pull up the PDF of the missing child report again. Michelle Harper's name, her address, the 911 transcript from last week. "My daughter's been gone 3 nights. Please." "I can't, she's 6. Her name is Ava. She has brown eyes." You zoom in on the file photo. Brown, warm, muddy, familiar. You glance up at the girl across from you. Her green eyes catch the diner light like polished glass. Too bright, too knowing. "Did your eyes change?" you ask gently. She shrugs, stabbing at her pancakes. "They said I needed new ones." You choke on your coffee. "Who said that?" She doesn't answer, just hums a little tune, off-key but haunting. You recognize it. A lullaby from a case you worked in '09. The Kessler twins. One dead, one never found. Same song. You grip the edge of the table to stop yourself from shaking. You reach into your coat pocket and find the small voice recorder you always carry. Turn it on. Click. Red light blinks. You ask again, who gave you those eyes? She looks directly into the recorder. The man with the hands that aren't his. You shut it off. It was never about the truth. It was about control. Something dark is stirring now. A shadow of memory, just outside reach. Not a thought, more like an instinct. You look down and realize your fingers are tracing an old scar on your left wrist. You don't remember how you got it. A waitress passes by. As she does, her eyes flick to Ava, and she freezes, drops a glass. It shatters. She stares. Where did you find her? She whispers. Out by Rose Hill, near the woods. The waitress backs away, hand over her mouth. That can't be. She's the reason that place is closed up. You stand. What do you mean? But the woman is gone, vanished into the back kitchen. You return to your seat. Ava's drawn something on a napkin. A house. Your house. You didn't tell her your address. There's a little stick figure in one window. The figure is labeled you. Next to it, a smaller figure, me circled twice. And above the house, in crayon scrawl handwriting, we never left. What does this mean, you ask? She whispers. It's where they took us when the photos stopped working. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You check your phone. The photo still gone. But in your gallery, a new image has appeared. It's Ava, smiling, taken 30 seconds ago. You didn't take it. You flip the phone to show her. Is this your doing? She smiles. He says you're almost ready. Ready for what? Her green eyes flicker. A momentary ripple, like a reflection warping in a pond, for the remembering. Outside, the neon sign goes dark. The power flickers. All the lights die, one by one. Inside the silence, you hear it again. Tick, tick, tick. Somewhere beneath the floor. A clock you haven't seen in 10 years. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. She knows your name. The power returns slowly, one bulb at a time, like a reluctant confession. The hum of the diner's old fridge coughs back to life. You blink against the sudden light. Ava is gone. Your side of the booth is still warm. Her napkin drawing is gone, too. But she didn't leave through the front door. You'd have heard the bell. And you didn't blink that long. You rise, fast, knocking your coffee across the table. Ava. No one answers. No waitress. No cook. No sounds of sizzling from the back. The whole place is too quiet now. Wrong quiet. You push through the swinging doors into the kitchen. Empty. Just a pot of soup, still bubbling. No sign of anyone. And then you forgot again. Her voice. You spin. She's standing behind you, barefoot on the cracked linoleum. Eyes green and glassy, like they've been waiting all this time. You open your mouth to speak, but she beats you to it. James. They said your name was James. You freeze. No one's called you that in years. Not since before the file was sealed. Not since the therapist told you to let the case go. That you'd never find the missing girl. That clinging to her story would kill you. You kneel down, voice dry as ash. Who told you my name? She tilts her head. You did. Your breath catches. You knew, but pretended you didn't. She pulls something from the pocket of her little coat. A folded piece of paper. You unfold it carefully. It's another photo. This time, clearer. The same house. You on the porch. Only now, there's something new. A hand in the upstairs window, waving. You don't remember this being taken. You don't remember that house. and yet your knuckles ache. Your knees feel like they've knelt on that porch 100 times. You touch the edge of the paper and feel something embedded. A flake of dried blood. No, ink, red, written faintly on the back. You have 7 days. You stare at Ava. 7 days for what? To come home, she says. You stumble out the back door of the diner, air too sharp in your lungs. You need time, space, answers. But your car is gone. Only your keys remain placed neatly on the roof of a payphone that hasn't worked since 2006. There's something carved into the plastic casing of the receiver. You left me here. You spin around. No one's there, except a black glove on the ground. One you recognize. You picked it up from the Rayburn crime scene. The one item that never made sense. Left on the windowsill. Warm when it shouldn't have been. You pick it up now, and it's warm again. What if you've been the suspect all along? You walk, nowhere specific, just away, through the dark, down the road, into the night, until headlights glare from behind you. A car slows, window rolls down. It's Michelle Harper, the mother, who said she never had a daughter. She looks sick, pale, her hands on the wheel twitching, makeup smeared. She's not supposed to be back, she says. You approach slowly. You remember her now. Her lips tremble. I remember everything. Then, why did you lie? She looks straight ahead, her voice hollow. Because if she exists, then so does he. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You pull out the glove. Michelle recoils. He gave that to her the night he took the mirror down. What mirror? She doesn't answer. Just drives away. Behind you, Ava stands in the road. She didn't make a sound. Her rabbit is gone. In its place, she holds a small silver key. She lifts it toward you. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. The basement isn't empty. You take the key, though everything in your gut warns you not to. It's cold, impossibly so, like it hasn't touched daylight in decades. It has a strange shape too, not modern, not even antique, more specific, like it only belongs to one place. You don't ask what it unlocks, because part of you already knows. Ava doesn't speak again as she walks ahead. You follow, through the dark, down back roads that shouldn't be familiar, but are, past a dead elm tree struck by lightning, past a weather vane that spins even when there's no wind. You've been here before. The house appears like a memory surfacing. 2 stories, white paint peeling like old skin, a cracked window on the 2nd floor, exactly like the photo. She leads you around back. Her bare feet make no sound on the wet grass. You stop at the cellar doors, wood swollen with rot, hinges rusted. She hands you the key again, nods. You unlock it. The lock clicks like a jaw snapping shut. You open the doors. The smell hits first. Not death. Worse, time. You descend into the dark, flashlight in hand. The beam catches dust motes and spider webs, but also carvings, dozens, maybe hundreds, on the support beams, the concrete walls, scratched over each other, layered in panic, names, dates, numbers that don't match calendars. One phrase repeats, I am not the first. There's something else. On the far wall, covered in mildew, hangs a corkboard, yellowed papers uppinned with rusted tacks, photos, sketches, newspaper clippings that shouldn't exist. Your face is in several, so is Ava's. One headline reads, Detectives, child vanishes, case buried. Amid allegations, you step back. No, I never had a child. But there it is, a birth certificate. Your name, hers, you knew, but pretended you didn't. You spin around. Ava stands silently in the stairwell. She hasn't moved. You shine the flashlight past her and catch a shape behind her. A figure, no features, just a tall, blurred thing, like a smear of ash and shadow. Then it's gone. You race up the stairs, heart hammering. Who was that? She doesn't answer. You grab her shoulders. Tell me. She looks up. He's been waiting for the remembering, and now he knows you're close. Suddenly, your flashlight dies. Darkness floods in. You feel the weight of the room change, like something joins you in it. Not a person, not quite. You back into a support beam. Your fingers graze something cold, a chain, hanging, attached to it, a key ring. You take it. One of the keys matches the one Ava gave you, but there are 6 others. One has a tag. You hold it to your phone light. Office, the drawer. You never opened. You're trembling now. The last time you visited the department office, you sat there for hours, staring at that drawer. You never touched it. What was inside? What did you bury? It was never about the truth. It was about control. You reach the top of the stairs. The night has changed. The wind howls louder, like it's warning you. Ava places her small hand in yours. It's too cold. You both look back at the basement one last time. Then she says, "You left him down there, too." What if you've been the suspect all along, the call that came too late? Your phone rings as soon as you close the cellar doors. You don't want to answer, but you do, because something in your bones tells you this call has been trying to reach you for years. The screen reads, "Unknown." You press your thumb against the screen, and a voice you've never heard, and yet somehow recognize, comes through the static. Stop taking her back. It's a man's voice, calm, patient, like someone reading bedtime stories from the other side of a locked door. Who is this? You don't remember. That's part of the deal. But your time's almost up. She's remembering faster than you. You glance at Ava. She's watching the road, like she already knows where you're headed. "Who are you?" you ask. The voice doesn't answer. Instead, it hums, that same lullaby again, the one Ava hummed in the diner, that broken, off-key melody that should belong to someone dead. Your skin crawls. "What do you want from me?" The line goes silent. Then check the voicemail from May 17th, 2014. Your stomach clenches. That's the week of the Rayburn case, the week you broke down. You never listened to that voicemail, just marked it as read and buried the number under a different contact name. Unknown female 1. You open the app, scroll back. It's still there, unplayed. Hands shaking. You press play. Static. A woman's voice, warped by tears. "James." He says you're not supposed to find her, that if you bring her back, he'll take you this time. You have to forget. Please, forget. You pause the audio. The timestamp says it was left at 3:17 a.m. You look at Ava. She mouths the time before you say it aloud. 3:17. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You ask, "Who left this message?" She shrugs. "A version of you that still loved me." You don't know whether to be horrified or shattered. The road curves unexpectedly, and you nearly miss the turn. But Ava says, "You always forget here. Just go straight." And you do. There's a mile marker with a deep gouge down the side. You remember hitting it once, during a blackout night in 2010. You thought it was an animal. You thought you were drunk. But what if you were wrong? You pull over. There's a trailhead here, barely visible in the brush. A narrow path choked with overgrowth and mud, and tire tracks. You reach into your pocket and pull out the silver key again. Still cold, still heavy, and beside it, a new object, a folded slip of paper. You didn't put it there. It reads, "The drawer is open." You turn to Ava. She says nothing, just stares ahead. The station, you whisper. She nods. You drive. Through a fog you didn't notice rolling in, past signs that no longer say what they used to. The roads twist in subtle ways, subconscious detours. You feel like the map of your life has been redrawn overnight. You reach the station. It's closed, but your old ID card still buzzes the back door open. The building is darker than you remember. Fluorescent lights flicker overhead, casting strobe-like shadows that play tricks on your vision. You walk past your old desk. Someone else sits there now, but the drawer you never opened, still there, still locked. You kneel. One of the keys on the ring fits. The lock clicks open. Inside, only one item. A child's drawing. A house. 2 stick figures. Labeled Dad and Me. And beneath it, written in shaky block letters, "You've promised it. Promised to remember." You stare at the image. The corners are burned, like someone tried to destroy it, but couldn't. The voice returns, not from your phone this time, from behind you, low, breathing. "Why do you think I left her intact?" You spin, but no one's there. A gust of air from the hallway rattles the blinds. A file cabinet drawer slams shut on its own. You look down. Your reflection in the drawer's metal is not your own. It's him, the thing behind Ava's eyes. It was never about the truth. It was about control. What if you've been the suspect all along? You've seen that symbol before. The symbol on the child's drawing, it didn't register at first. Just a lazy scribble in the corner, almost like a flourish from an overambitious crayon stroke. But now it pulses in your memory like a bruise pressed too hard. 3 curved lines converging at a single point, like a spiral collapsing into itself. It's not a doodle, it's a sigil, and you've seen it before. Once, on a file from a case that never made it to court, and once on the ceiling of a room that didn't exist the next day. You yank open the drawer again, deeper this time. Behind the drawing taped to the back panel, you find it. A folder marked "Personal. Do not release" in red grease pencil. Inside, only 2 things. A therapist's note, dated June 3, 2014. Patient continues to project missing child scenario into unrelated environments. Fabricated memory loop intensifying. Recommending level-E dissociation protocol. A photo of Ava, same green eyes, same rabbit standing in the doorway of your childhood home. You stare at the handwriting on the note. It's yours. You wrote your own diagnosis. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You turn, and Ava is there. You never heard her enter. She walks slowly to your side, glancing at the file like it's an old bedtime story she's memorized. "What is this?" you ask. Voice cracking. She answers softly. "It's the page you always lose." Your hands shake. "Why would I write this? To protect us," she says, but it stopped working. You look down at the sigil. What does it mean? A pause. Then, "He made it. He." Ava blinks. Her pupils shrink. The one who doesn't forget. Your spine stiffens. The file room flickers. Light overhead stutters like it's afraid to stay on. And in that brief darkness, something shifts behind the shelves. Not seen, just felt. The air displaces, like something huge moved through a narrow space. You grab the folder and bolt. Down the hallway, through the break room. The station smells like mildew and lost years. You shove open the old case archive door, and there it is again. The sigil, spray painted on the wall behind the shelves. Same shape, larger now. And around it, scratched into the plaster in frantic loops. Remembering is the trap. You stumble backward, heartbeat slamming. Ava takes your hand. We shouldn't stay here. You ask, why not? She says, because the mirror is waking up. You freeze. You said he took it down. No, she corrects. He just turned it around. She reaches into your coat pocket without asking and pulls out something new. A shard of glass, triangular, smooth on one side, the other side stained with something. She lifts it to her face. In the reflection, her eyes are brown, not green, and your face, not your own, older, tired, blood at the collar, and behind you, always just behind him, a blur, not human, long fingers, a grin that doesn't end where it should. You drop the glass. It doesn't break, just rolls into the shadows like it knows the way home. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You whisper, why are you showing me this? Ava's voice is distant, almost gone, because last time you ran, you blink, and you're outside, not in the station, on the sidewalk, gravel underfoot, Ava beside you, but something's off. A man is walking toward you, tall, long coat, face blurred like a smudged photo. He walks slowly, too slowly. You turn to Ava. Gone. Gone again. But in your pocket, the photo has returned. Only now, there's a third figure on the porch, and it's not you. Everyone lies, especially the quiet ones. The mother's hands are too still. You knock again. Same house, same peeling white paint, same porch light swinging in the wind, casting frantic shadows across the rotted steps. Michelle Harper answers the door again. This time, she doesn't slam it. This time, she opens it wide. But something's different about her. Not her clothes. They're identical to what she wore 2 nights ago. Not her eyes. They're still red-rimmed, still too dry to be grieving. It's her hands. They don't move. Not even when she speaks. Not even when she breathes. They just rest at her sides, rigid, like they were placed there. You ask, do you remember me? She nods slowly, as if the movement is being rehearsed in real time. I shouldn't, she says, but I do. You hesitate, glancing back toward the street where Ava should be, but isn't. The air around you hums faintly, like an old CRT screen warming up. Michelle gestures for you to enter. She doesn't use her hands. They still don't move. Inside, the hallway feels smaller than before. The same family photos hang on the walls, but you notice one in particular this time. It's of a birthday party, a child's, a clown in the background, balloons, a woman, Michelle, younger, smiling into the camera, and standing just behind her, out of focus, is you. You never attended that party. You never wore that coat. You've never had that smile. You knew, but pretended you didn't. Michelle speaks again. I tried to burn them, the photos, the toys, the drawings, but they always come back. She walks, mechanically, toward the kitchen, her arms swinging now, but too smooth, too timed. Do you want some tea? She asks. You nod slowly, just to watch her do it. She picks up the kettle, fills it, lights the stove, but still her hands don't shake, not even a tremor. Mothers shake when they grieve, when they pour tea, when the weight of remembering creeps into the wrist and drags the soul down behind it. You sit across from her. You said you never had a daughter. I don't, she answers, but you filed the report. She tilts her head. I didn't know it was me who filed it. You lean in. Explain. Michelle looks toward the hallway. Sometimes I wake up with different memories. Sometimes I know her name. Sometimes I don't. But the one thing that stays the same, She opens a drawer beneath the kitchen sink, pulls out a shoebox. Inside dozens of ID cards, all hers, all real, all different names, is that I always recognize him. She pulls out a photograph, slides it across to you. It's the man in the long coat, the one from the station hallway. He's standing behind Ava in the image, a hand resting on her shoulder. His face is blurred, as if caught mid-motion or mid-rejection by the camera itself. You ask, did he do something to you? Michelle doesn't answer, just nods toward the stove. Steam pours out from the kettle, but she hasn't moved to turn it off. And suddenly, you realize it's too quiet. No click of burners, no whistle from the spout. You step closer. The stove isn't on. The steam isn't coming from the kettle. It's coming from the mirror behind her, small, circular, propped on the counter, and it's fogging, like breath is on the other side. You wipe it. Your reflection blinks. You don't. Behind you, Ava stands in the doorway, her expression blank. Michelle doesn't react, because Michelle is no longer real. You step back, the air thick now, humming with something heavy. Ava speaks. She was only real until you remembered her. You whisper, then what is she now? Ava walks forward and touches Michelle's unmoving hand. She's the echo, the placeholder. The skin peels where she touches, painted on skin, paper. Michelle turns. Her face doesn't change. It tears from the corners of her mouth. The smile holds as the rest of her falls away like wet wallpaper. You back into the wall, breathless. Ava stares at you. She was supposed to convince you to forget again. You fall to your knees. The shoebox spills. Each ID flutters across the kitchen tiles. Each name is yours. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The drawer beneath the sink clicks closed by itself. You didn't move. You didn't breathe. Ava picks up one last ID. It says, James Rayburn, and under it, deceased. What if you've been the suspect all along, what the dog dug up? You don't remember leaving the house, but you're outside. The wind stings your face like punishment. The front door behind you creaks, then slams shut, hard enough to echo. You don't go back. You just run. Down the cracked sidewalk, past the gnarled tree with initials carved into its trunk. You reach your car and shove the key into the ignition, but the engine doesn't turn. Only static from the radio. Faint. Whispered. You lean in. You buried it. You buried it. You buried it. You shut it off. Turn it back on. Nothing. You glance up and see a dog in the yard across the street. Old mutt, muzzle gray, ribs visible, pawing at a mound of earth beneath a broken swing set. At first, it's just dirt, then a piece of fabric, then something small. You walk over, the cold air, thick with something metallic and forgotten. The dog stops and looks at you, doesn't growl, doesn't run, just waits, like it knows you're the one who left it there. You kneel, scoop away the rest of the dirt with your hands. A child's shoe, tiny, blue, torn at the sole. Inside it, a piece of paper, yellowed with time. You unfold it. It's a note, handwritten, familiar slant. Your handwriting. It reads, I had to hide her. He was watching. I couldn't let her go. Please forgive me. Below that, a signature. James. Your breath catches. Your name, but not your words. You never wrote this. Did you? You knew, but pretended you didn't. You pick up the shoe. Inside the toe is something sharp, cold, a tooth, small, human. The dog whines, turns, and disappears behind the shed. You follow. Behind the shed is a pile of dirt that doesn't belong. Fresh, no weeds, no leaves, just soil recently turned. You start to dig. Fingernails crack, palms bleed. You don't stop. 6 inches down, you hit something metal, a lunchbox. You pry it open. Inside, a Polaroid photo of you holding Ava standing in front of a school you don't recognize. She's wearing the same shoe, and tucked behind the photo, a cassette tape labeled Confession. You don't have a player, but you know what's on it. Your voice. You look up. Ava is standing on the swing set, slowly rocking back and forth. Not swinging, just swaying. Her eyes meet yours. No smile. Just the steady kind of gaze that knows you too well. Where did you find it, you ask, holding up the lunchbox. She tilts her head. You told me where to dig. You stagger backward. When? Before you forgot. A distant rumble. Thunder, no, not thunder. A voice, low, rumbling. From the ground. You're late. The dirt beneath the box starts to steam. You jump back as smoke seeps from the soil, curling around your ankles like fingers. Ava steps down from the swing. She walks to the mound and kneels, places her hand on the earth. The smoke stops. Silence. Then she looks up. You didn't bury me. Your throat goes dry. What? She whispers. You buried him. And now he wants out. It was never about the truth. It was about control. You hear something behind you. Not a footstep. A laugh. Dry. Familiar. Your laugh just wrong. You turn, heart slamming into your ribs. But no one's there, except your own shadow. Cast too long, too tall, and moving when you don't. You back away. Your car is gone. Your phone is gone. The sky shifts, and in the last fading light, you notice something carved into the metal lunchbox. What if she never existed? What if you've been the suspect all along? A teacher without a name. The road before you doesn't make sense anymore. It curves where it didn't. Dead ends where it used to run straight. Every sign is rusted over or blank, as if the letters peeled off in fear. You walk because there's no other option left. Ava walks beside you, silent, swinging the lunchbox like it's just a school bag, not a burial ground. You ask her, quietly, did you go to school? She nods once. Where? She tilts her head like the question itself is foggy. The place with the long hall and the ticking clock. That could be anywhere. No, she says. Only one place ticked like that. She stops suddenly, points ahead. You follow her gaze. There's a building at the end of the road. Small, brick, shuttered windows. A faded sign hangs by one bent chain. Willow Creek Elementary. Your stomach flips. The name means nothing, and yet it rings through your head like a scream in reverse. This place was condemned years ago. You murmur, no record, no kids, no survivors. Ava says, I liked it there. He let us drop. She doesn't answer, just opens the gate. It shouldn't open. Rust has sealed it shut for decades. But for her, it creaks wide with unnatural ease. You follow her through the weeds, the vines, the broken glass littering the front walk. Inside, the air is heavy with dust and something sweeter, like rotting flowers. The floor groans under your weight. Ava walks like she belongs here. You step into the first classroom. Desks are still arranged in crooked rows. A chalkboard reads, Quiet time in faded cursive. Crayon drawings are pinned to a corkboard, most of them smeared, torn, or upside down. But one catches your eye. A stick figure man with no face, hands too long, legs too straight, standing beside a group of children drawn in panicked lines. Above them, Scrawled in childish all caps, the teacher who wasn't. You shiver, Ava says. He told us we could stay as long as we were quiet. But when someone asked his name, she trails on. You wait. When they asked, he changed. You turn slowly. Changed how? Her eyes flash green again, but only for a second. He took them out. You feel something warm in your palm. The cassette tape. It's leaking. Black fluid seeping from its seams. You drop it. It hisses on the floor like acid. You stare at the teacher's desk. A drawer's open. Inside a ruler. A stuffed rabbit. A photo of a class of children. One desk in the front row empty. You lean closer. Every child's face is scratched out except Ava's. And next to her, you. Same eyes. Same tired lines in your face. You taught here. You don't remember. You knew, but pretended you didn't. A bell rings overhead. There's no power, no reason for that bell to ring. Ava flinches, grabs your hand. He's coming, she whispers. This part always repeats. What do you mean? We always come back. We always dig. We always open the door. You're sweating now. The air smells like iron and static. You hear footsteps. Not heavy, measured, as if someone's taking their time. Someone who already knows the ending. You pull Ava behind the desk. She's shaking. You said he wasn't real. I never said that. The footsteps stop outside the room. The doorknob jiggles, clicks, turns, but the door doesn't open. Instead, a folded piece of paper slides under the gap. You wait. Nothing else happens. You pick it up. It's another drawing. The house again. The swing set. The cracked window. But now, there's something new. A figure inside the house. And next to it, a mirror. The caption reads, "This is where he sleeps." You look at Ava. She nods. We have to go back. To the house. To the mirror. It was never about the truth. It was about control. A window bursts inward behind you. Glass everywhere. No sound. Just wind that howls with words you almost recognize. Words like you promised, you swore, you left. You pick up Ava and run. Out the door. Down the hall. The clock at the end ticks louder with every step. Tick, tick, tick. Not seconds. Memories. What if you've been the suspect all along? You shouldn't remember that. You're back on the trail. Not the real one. The one behind the house, where the trees never move quite right, and the wind whistles things it shouldn't know. Ava is beside you again. She's always beside you now. You don't ask how you got here. You stopped asking questions like that a long time ago. But tonight, something's different. Because you remember the cabin. It hits you like a wave, undeniable, uninvited. The warped wooden frame, the door that always stuck, the cracked sink, where the water never ran clean. You know it. You've stood on that porch, smelled that musty air, waited inside it. You remember the scream and the silence after. You stop walking. Who else remembers this place, you ask? Ava shrugs. Only the ones who stayed buried. You shiver. The path forks, but you don't need to choose. You know where to go. You follow the roots that crawl above the soil like veins. You follow the scent of damp rot and broken promises. You find the cabin exactly where your nightmare said it would be. It hasn't aged a day. That's what tells you it's real. Because real things decay. This just waits. You step onto the porch. The boards groan, not from your weight, but from recognition, like they've been expecting you. You push open the door. Inside, dust hangs like a memory suspended mid-air. Everything is exactly as it was in your mind: the crooked lamp, the stained cot, the shattered mirror above the fireplace. its shards tucked behind masking tape. But there's something else now. A child's drawing, pinned to the wall with a nail. A house, a cabin, a cracked sink, and beneath it, in block letters, "Remember me." Right. You stagger backward. The air grows thick. Wrong. You turn. Ava's already seated in the middle of the room, cross-legged on the floor. She stares at you. You said you'd never come back. I didn't know it was real. You whisper? Yes, you did, she says. You just didn't want it to be. You scan the room again. Something is off. No, missing. Then it clicks. The ticking. It stopped. The clock above the door is frozen. 3 Saturdays, 17. Again. You reach for the mirror, the one above the fireplace. You peel away the tape, carefully, slowly. The mirror's surface is cracked like something inside it has been punching for years. And in the reflection, the room is not empty. There's another version of it, lit with candles, filled with toys, and sitting in the chair where the lamp should be. You, but not now. You, another you, smiling, holding Ava in your lap, rocking, whispering something into her ear you can't hear, but she can, because in real life, present Ava, she smiles too. The first time she smiled without dread, you remember now. She says, "No, you breathe." Not yet. She points to the floorboards. You kneel. There's a loose one. You pry it up. Inside a journal. Its cover worn. Pages torn. You open it. Every page is written in your hand. Each one begins, "To my daughter." You scan entry after entry. Words of love. Warnings. Desperate pleas to forgive the forgetting. Notes on how to find her. How to lead yourself back. How to leave breadcrumbs that he wouldn't see. Tears burn your eyes. You did have a daughter. She was taken, and you did everything you could to forget, because remembering made him stronger. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You reached the last page. 3 words, "Don't turn around." You hear the floor groan behind you. Not Ava. Something bigger, slower, dragging feet across memories you buried too deep. Ava's voice is barely audible. If you turn, you stay, you freeze, your breath stills. The mirror cracks deeper on its own. A reflection blinks that shouldn't. "I need to know." You whisper. She nods. "You will, but not here." You close the journal. Tuck it inside your coat. Stand, eyes fixed on the doorway. Ava opens it for you. Outside, it's snowing now. Silent flakes over dead leaves. No sign of the trail. No sign of the world. Just the truth, and the thing that follows it. You step into the cold. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And in the cabin behind you, the clock starts ticking again. What if you've been the suspect all along? The mirror doesn't like you. The snowfall thickens as you walk, but the air doesn't grow colder. That's how you know this isn't weather. It's memory falling apart. Each flake that touches your skin evaporates before it melts. Like even the atmosphere is warning you you don't belong here anymore. Ava is silent beside you. Again, she doesn't need to speak now. You're remembering fast enough on your own. You carry the journal under your coat like a shield, but it feels heavier with every step. The words inside it, they're not just from you. Not anymore. New pages have appeared. Weren't there last night, or this morning, if time still works like that. And you swear the ink is still wet. You finally see the house again through the trees. Your house. You didn't remember owning it yesterday. Now it greets you like an old friend you wronged. The porch light flickers in a rhythm you recognize. 3 short, 2 long, 1 short. Morse code. R. The same initial carved into the lunchbox, the journal, the broken frame in your station locker. Rayburn, your name, your legacy, your punishment. Inside the house, it's dark, not shadow dark, refusal dark. Like light enters and then changes its mind. You step inside anyway. Ava doesn't follow. She stops at the threshold, her eyes hollow. I don't like this part, she says. You look back. You've been here before. She nods once, too many times. You want to ask what she means, but a sound interrupts, a low hum, electronic, familiar. You follow it through the hall and into the master bedroom. There, resting on the vanity you don't remember buying, is the mirror. It wasn't here before. It is now. Tall, framed in black metal, an ornate trim you swear you've seen etched into your dreams, and on the bottom edge, scratched into the glass, one of you isn't real. You approach. Your reflection steps forward too, but too fast. You stop. It smiles. You don't. You raise your hand. It mirrors you, but a second behind. Lagged. Delayed. Off. You whisper. What are you? Your reflection tilts its head, then lifts a hand you didn't raise, places it on the inside of the glass. Your chest aches like a string has been plucked inside you. The journal slips from your coat and hits the floor with a thud. The mirror begins to hum louder. You fall to your knees. Inside the glass, your reflection starts speaking, but there's no sound. Just lips moving in silence, repeating the same phrase, over and over. She's not the one missing. She's not the one missing. She's not the one. You hear the door creak. Ava stands there, hands folded, still barefoot. She warned you about the mirror. You managed to croak. Who did Ava doesn't blink? Me. Your head spins. You clutch your skull. It's like your memories are bleeding together. Childhood, casework, hallways that never ended, a child's face that changed color and shape. Ava, not Ava. The name scrawled in every folder. Rayburn, your daughter, or your mistake. You crawl to the journal, open to a page you don't recognize. It reads, if you see the mirror and it sees you, don't ask who's on the other side. That's how he gets out. You slam it shut, but it's too late. The humming stops. The mirror turns black, and in that sudden darkness, your reflection smiles wider than it should be able to. A voice, deeper than a basement, whispers, you gave me her name. Now give me yours. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You stagger backward. Ava reaches out and pulls you from the room. The mirror doesn't follow, but it watches. From every reflective surface in the house, the doorknobs, the window glass, the glossy photo frames, every piece of you is being observed, every fragment catalogued. You and Ava collapse in the hallway. You breathe hard. She doesn't. She just says, you never should have looked. Why not? Because now he knows you remember. It was never about the truth. It was about control. In your pocket, the cassette tape has cracked open. Inside is a single tooth, your own, and carved into it. You left me. What if you've been the suspect all along? He's drawing the truth. The living room is cold, not from the air, from the weight. The kind of cold that seeps up from the floorboards when something below doesn't want to be forgotten. Ava kneels on the hardwood with a handful of crayons. You didn't see her take them out, but they're there now, rolling lazily across the floor like they've been waiting all night. She starts to draw. No paper, just the floor itself. Wax smears into the old pine wood, jagged lines like slashes, blue, red, black, yellow. Her hand moves quickly, furiously. like the memory is flooding through her fingers faster than she can keep up. You want to stop her. You don't, because part of you needs to know what's inside her, what you might have put there. When she's done, she sits back. Her face is pale, distant, like she aged 10 years in 10 minutes. You step closer. It's a scene, a house, this house, a figure at the top of the stairs, stick figure, simple, but unmistakably you. The brown coat, the tired eyes, below. Another figure, smaller, on the floor. Red crayon for the outline, too much red. You feel the panic start to crawl up your chest. What is this, you whisper. Ava doesn't look at you. She just adds a final word in blocky, lopsided letters beside the image. Again, you kneel beside her. Again. What does that mean? She finally looks at you. It keeps happening. What does you find me? You remember, then you forget, and it starts over. You stare at her. How many times? She shrugs. This is the 11th drawing. You glance around the room. Suddenly, you see them. Faint outlines, scrubbed away with bleach or time. Wax ghosts of previous drawings, overlapping in quiet layers on the floor. You were never seeing this room clearly, because you weren't ready. Not until now. You open the journal again, find a page near the back, almost ripped out. It wasn't an accident. It was a trade. Your hands tremble. He said I could forget the worst night of my life if I gave him the memory. But I didn't know the memory was her. Your voice cracks. I gave her to him. Ava nods. It wasn't supposed to stick, but something did. You stand. You can't stay in this room. Not with the drawings. Not with her quiet eyes. You step toward the window, but your reflection is waiting again. In the glass, your own face is different. A scar you don't remember. Eyes darker. Smile wrong. In the reflection, Ava is gone. You look over your shoulder. She's still there. You look back at the glass. Gone. Now it's just you. Alone. And behind your reflection, a door. Not one in this room, but one you recognize anyway. Basement, same hinges, same peeling paint, the one you swore you'd never open again, the one you promised her you'd lock forever. You whisper, why is it still there? The reflection doesn't answer. Instead, its lips move silently. Same 3 words again. You left me. You spin around. Ava is holding something. A crayon. No. A key. Not the silver one. This one's different. Handmade. Carved from wood. Covered in old blood. Where did you get that? She says nothing. She walks to the hallway closet and opens the door. Inside a narrow staircase. Not a closet at all. You feel it instantly. The memory comes back in pieces. Her voice, high-pitched and pleading. Your hands shaking, trying to do the right thing. The sound of the lock turning. The silence afterward. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You grabbed the journal, flipped to the first page. The one you wrote with red ink. Your handwriting, but not your words. This is not a confession. It's a map. If you're reading this again, it means you're back, and it means I didn't stop him. You look at Ava. She hands you the wooden key. It opens the last room. She whispers, what's in there? She looks at the floor. You. It was never about the truth. It was about control. The lights flicker. Somewhere beneath you, a clock starts ticking again. Slower this time. Dragging. Mocking. You reach for the knob. What if you've been the suspect all along? You've been here before. The wooden key slips into the lock like it's coming home. Click. The sound echoes down the narrow staircase, swallowed by the dark-like breath into lungs too long unused. You pause at the top step. Because you remember this door now. You remember standing here, sweating, shaking, hoping she wouldn't scream again. The air changes when the door opens, heavier, thicker, not colder, but closer. Ava waits behind you, silent. You begin the descent. The steps creak not like wood, but like bones flexing in anticipation. Every footfall feels like a choice you've already made a dozen times. The air smells of dust and regret. At the bottom, a single bulb dangles from the ceiling, flickering like it's struggling to keep the dark at bay. You pull the chain. Light sputters, then stabilizes, and the room is exactly as you left it. A cot in the corner, a small desk, a mirror turned backward against the wall, chains on the floor not binding anything now, but still warm to the touch, and on the far side of the room, a name carved into the concrete wall, over and over again, Ava, Ava, Ava. Some of the carvings are messy, some are perfect, some are yours. You step forward. Something crunches underfoot. Crayons, snapped in half. The colors she always used: red, blue, black, like she was trying to keep drawing even in the dark. On the desk sits a tape recorder, cassette already inside, labeled play. When you remember, you press play, static first, then your own voice, breathless, raw. If you're hearing this, it means you opened the door. It means the forgetting failed. She's not a dream. She's not a symbol. She's your daughter, and you gave her away. Not out of malice, out of fear. He offered relief. You were weak. I was weak. But she came back. She always does. He doesn't want her. He wants you. The tape clicks off. Ava steps into the room now, barefoot, on concrete. She walks to the mirror, still turned backward, and rests her hand on its frame. He lives here now, she says quietly. In this room, in the space between your choices. You whisper, what does he want? Her voice trembles. To finish what you started. You feel it behind you. The presence. Not a sound. Not a shape. Just pressure. Like something pressing against the memory of your spine. You turn, and in the reflection on the side of the tape recorder, you see it. Tall, grinning, wearing your coat. But the smile isn't yours, and the eyes, too many. You grab the journal from your coat and flip to the final page. A new sentence is appearing. Letter by letter choose. The mirror begins to rattle. The bulb bursts overhead. The room floods with darkness, but you still see the two of them, Ava and the reflection, both waiting. One is real, one is his, but which you knew, but pretended you didn't. You reach for the mirror. Ava grabs your hand. Don't choose the wrong me, she whispers. If you do, it starts again. Your hand trembles. There's a symbol on her wrist. 3 curved lines converging at a point. The same one from your case file. You look at the reflection. She doesn't have it. Your choice is clear. You pull Ava close. Smash the mirror with the journal. The glass explodes in a shower of shrieks, not shards, but voices, screaming, pleading, trapped. You cover Ava with your coat as the noise fades. The room goes still, silent. The tape recorder smokes. The chains go cold. The name on the wall begins to fade one letter at a time until there's nothing. You look at Ava. She looks at you and smiles. Not the eerie, distant smile from earlier. A child's smile. Real. Present. Did I choose right, you ask? She nods. This time, it was never about the truth. It was about control. And this time, you took it back. What if you've been the suspect all along? Everyone lied, even you. The silence is different now. Before, It felt like an absence. Now, it feels like a weight lifted, but not all of it. Not yet. You sit at the edge of the cot, the journal heavy in your lap. Ava is curled beside you, her head against your arm. Her breathing is steady, innocent. It almost feels real. And that's what scares you most. You flip back to the journal's first page, not to read it, to test it. Because if this is the version where you broke the loop, if you smashed the mirror, made the right choice, then the journal should be different. But it's not. Same pages, same ink, same desperate handwriting, pleading for remembrance. And in the margin of page 13, a note you don't recall writing. If she's still here, it means the lie held. You blink. What lie you flip forward? On page 16, you told yourself she was taken, but you gave her away. Not to him, to her. A cold spike drives into your spine. You stare down at Ava. She's asleep now, hand clutching your coat like she's done it 100 times. And suddenly you remember the day you signed the document. You weren't alone. There was a woman beside you. Not Michelle Harper, not a mother, a handler, a facilitator. She slid the adoption papers across the desk, offered you the out. We'll take the memory. Too, she'd said. You won't remember the child, the loss, not even this meeting. You signed. You walked away. You let your daughter vanish into a program designed to protect men like you from the ghosts they couldn't carry. You knew, but pretended you didn't, because forgetting was easier than guilt. But something went wrong. She didn't stay gone, because you left breadcrumbs. You left the drawings, the lunchbox, the confession tape. You left her, you, and she used it to find you. Every time. You rise from the cot and pace. The truth doesn't burn, it corrodes. Everything you thought was supernatural, impossible, twisted by him, was you. You buried the memories so deep, your own mind wrapped them in shadows and gave them a face. He was never real, but the damage he did, very real. You glance at Ava. She's awake, eyes open, watching you. You ask, voice low, do you know? She nods. You gave me away, but you left the map. You fall to your knees. I didn't know it would stick. I thought I'd be better to someone else. She says nothing. You ask, do you hate me? She shakes her head, but her voice is calm, too calm. He does. You freeze. Who? She blinks. The one you made to take your place, so you didn't have to hold it. You stare at the broken mirror on the floor, one shard still intact. You pick it up. In it, you don't see Ava, only yourself, and him, smiling, wide. Your voice escapes in a whisper. He's still here. Ava nods, because the lie is still alive. You clench the mirror shard tighter. What do I do? She looks at the journal. You finish it. You sit again, open to the last blank page. This time, you don't write to her. You write to him. You're not my monster. You're my shame, and I'm not feeding you anymore. You can haunt the mirror, the basement, the woods, but you don't get her. Not again. Not ever. You sign it. James Rayburn. You exhale, and the mirror shard in your hand dissolves into dust. The chains on the floor crack, one by one. The tape recorder hisses, then melts, and the final carving on the wall, AVA, crumbles into ash. She looks at you, smiles, for real. You smile back. A voice whispers in your mind. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And this time, you chose honesty. What if you've been the suspect all along? The silence of the dollhouse. The upstairs hallway is longer than you remember. Or maybe it just feels that way. Because this time, you're walking it awake. Each step creaks louder than it should, as if the house is listening, waiting for you to step in the wrong spot where the memory is weakest. Ava leads you now. You follow without asking where. You already know. Her bedroom is at the end. You hesitated to open that door before, not because you were afraid of what was inside, but because you already knew it wasn't empty. She pushes it open. The air inside smells like crayons and rot, the soft kind of decay that only happens when time skips a room. Her room didn't age. Nothing did. You step inside and see it again. The dollhouse, center of the room. Too big for a toy, too small for a home. Perfectly detailed. Same paint as the real house. Same window crack above the left bedroom. Same porch swing you haven't fixed since the first Ava was born. Only now, the dollhouse has changed. It's grown. There's an extra floor. It wasn't there before. You kneel. Ava crouches beside you. Neither of you speak. You open the dollhouse roof. Inside, the furniture has moved. The figures' miniature versions of you and Ava are in the kitchen. But there's a third figure now. A tall one, faceless, stuffed into the tiny hallway between the rooms, hands pressed to either side of the house like it's trying to break out. Ava says, "That's where he waits." "I thought we ended him," you whisper. She shakes her head. "You ended part of him, but this is the part you left behind." You turn the dollhouse toward you. In the new upper floor, there's a small door, painted black, shut tight. A keyhole. Ava pulls something from her pocket. Not a key this time. A tooth. You recoil. "What is that mine?" she says. "The one I lost before you gave me away." You reach out, hesitate, then fit it into the keyhole. The door opens. Inside, instead of a room, is a mirror. Tiny, perfect. And in its reflection, the doll version of you begins to smile. You let go. The dollhouse shutters. The walls creak. The lights in the room flicker, then go out. Darkness. Not total. You hear a music box winding up. The lullaby. That off-key tune again. The one you never taught her, but always remembered. Your voice cracks. Is this where it started? Ava's voice is barely audible. No, this is where it refused to end. You stand, stagger, open the closet door. Inside, shelves of toys, but only one catches your eye. A stuffed rabbit, missing one eye. You pick it up, turn it over. Inside the seam, something hard. You tear the stitching carefully. Inside, a folded photograph of you and Ava, standing in front of the dollhouse, smiling, and written on the back, "The version where we both survive." You drop to the floor, breathe, not because the weight is gone, but because you're finally holding it. The truth, unedited, unforgiven. You ask Ava, "How do we keep it from repeating?" She touches your shoulder. "Don't lie again. You knew, but pretended you didn't." The dollhouse creaks once more, then splits. Not violently, not like something escaping, more like a puzzle completing itself in reverse. Each wall folds inward. Each room collapses into the next, until all that remains is the mirror, small, still. You lift it. Your reflection matches you perfectly. You blink, it blinks. You breathe, it breathes. The version that smiles now is your own. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And you're in control again. For now, what if you've been the suspect all along? No one remembers her. You wake up in your own bed. The morning sun filters through the blinds in soft lines across the hardwood. The kind of light that makes you question if any of it ever happened. But it did, because the journal lies on your nightstand. And the dollhouse key, now warped, burned at the edges, is still in your coat pocket. You sit up slowly. The house feels different. Not wrong, just too quiet. Like it's listening for what version of you got out of bed this time. You call her name, Ava. No reply. You check every room. Nothing. No stuffed rabbit. No broken crayons. No footprints down the hallway floor. You haven't cleaned in years. The mirror above the mantel is clean. No messages. No fog. No smile waiting on the other side. She's gone. But not the kind of gone you remember. The kind of gone that leaves a trace. You open the journal again. One more page has appeared. This is the version where she walks away. And you stay behind to remember. You drive to the precinct, to the diner, to the house on Holloway Lane. Each place the same. And every time you ask about her, describe her, name her, they look at you like you're describing a dream they once had and forgot. The waitress at the diner just shakes her head. No child's been through here. Not in years. At the school, the principal pulls records that have been untouched since the 90s. No Ava Rayburn, no Michelle Harper. Nothing but water-damaged files and smudged fingerprints on doors that haven't been opened since the building was condemned. You drive to the woods, to the trailhead. The swing set is gone now. So is the shed. Only the earth remains soft in places where it shouldn't be. You kneel, dig a little. There's no lunchbox, no shoe, just a patch of soil with your initials carved faintly into the roots of a birch tree. J.R. And below them, a newer carving. She found her way. You sit back on your heels, breathe in the air. It's cleaner now, as if the weight has shifted, not lifted. Not gone, but handed back to you. The rightful bearer. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You pull out your phone, open your contacts. No Ava, no unknown female. One. You scroll to the voicemail folder. Nothing but static. Not a single saved message. You open your photos. No porch, no drawing, no mirror, except one image, a new one, time-stamped 3 minutes ago, taken from your front lawn. A girl with her back to the camera, walking away, barefoot, her hand raised in a slow, small wave. You whisper, Ava, but the phone glitches and the photo vanishes, replaced by a blank white screen. You turn it off. You drive home, park in the same spot. The porch creaks under your step. Inside, the light is warm, inviting, deceitful. The kind of light that makes you want to forget again. You sit on the edge of your bed and write a single line in the journal. If you find this, don't look for her. Just make sure she never has to find you. You tuck the journal beneath the floorboard under the dresser. Nail it shut. Then you sit in the living room, still, alone, and the mirror over the mantel. You turn it around, face to the wall, because you remember what happens when you stare too long. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And this time, no one gets to control her. What if you've been the suspect all along? The window was always broken. It's almost night again. You sit in the kitchen with the lights off, letting the last of the orange sun spill through the cracked window above the sink. You never fixed that glass. You meant to, for years. But now, you understand why you didn't. Because the crack wasn't just a flaw. It was a scar, a reminder that something once tried to get out or get in and failed. The silence hums around you like a song with no lyrics. You listen anyway. You stare at the window, not through it, at it, because the longer you do, the more you remember. Not all at once, in fragments, like the window itself, a scream, a fall, a name you tried to forget. Your voice raised. A hand, a step too far back, then glass and silence. You never told anyone what really happened that night. Not the department, not the therapist, not even yourself. You built a version of events you could live with. A story where Ava was taken, stolen, erased, but now you see it clearly. She fell, not far, not fast, but far enough. And the blood on your hands wasn't from someone else. It was hers. You cleaned the crack with your sleeve, but it stays. Of course it stays, because some truths don't wash off. You hear something on the porch, soft footsteps. You rise slowly, open the front door. No one there, but something is. A shoebox. You stare at it for a long time before bringing it inside. On the lid, a note I remember for both of us now. You open it. Inside, a crayon, a photograph of the swing set, untouched, a lock of hair, the dollhouse key, and the final page of the journal, torn out and rewritten, not in your hand, in hers. Dear Dad, I don't blame you. I remember too much sometimes, and it hurts, but I still smile. You tried, even when you forgot. I found the door and closed it from the other side. He can't follow anymore. Not through dreams, not through mirrors, not through guilt. You're free. Just promise me one thing. Don't try to find me. Let this be the last version. Love, Ava. You sit on the floor, not crying, just here, still. The house is quiet again, but this time it feels like peace, not punishment. The window crack glows briefly in the moonlight. It looks like a scar across a face that finally stopped faking a smile. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You fold the letter, place it back in the box, close it, and for the first time in a long time, you sleep. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now, no one controls the ending but her. What if you've been the suspect all along? The lockbox in your trunk. You wake up before sunrise. The sky is the color of memory gray, soft, uncertain. For a few seconds, you think it's over, that she was a dream. The way trauma sometimes wears its Sunday best and sneaks in through the back door of your brain. But the shoebox is still on the table. The crayon, the photo, the letter, the lock of her hair, still there, still real. You grab your coat and keys, because one piece remains, one last unanswered rattle in the attic of your mind, the trunk. You haven't opened it in years. The key was always there, just never in your hand. But now, your fingers move automatically to the garage, to the back of your old car. You don't hesitate this time. The lock clicks open. The trunk groans upward. Inside, nestled under a threadbare blanket, the lockbox, black, dented, a sticker on the top long since peeled away. You lift it out. It's heavier than you remember, almost like it knows. You place it on the ground and crouch, brushing off the dust. There's a combination pad, 3 digits. You don't even think. You enter your birthday, 3, 1, 7. The same time the clock stopped, the same time the voicemails came, the same time she always left. The tumblers click, the lid pops open. Inside one item, the locket, her locket, the one you saw on Ava's neck in every version but never touched. You lift it gently. It's cool, warm, both at once. It smells faintly of crayon wax and lavender. You open it. Inside 2 photos. On one side Ava, smiling. On the other, you. Not the you from now, the one from before. The man with lighter eyes, fewer lines, less damage, less truth. There's a folded piece of paper beneath the velvet lining. You unfold it. More of her handwriting, more of what you didn't expect. If you found this, then the remembering stayed this time. You made it all the way. You didn't forget. This is yours now. The pain, the guilt, the love. I'm not your second chance. I'm your only one. Ava, you press the locket to your forehead and close your eyes. For once, there's no mirror, no voice whispering from behind glass, no ticking, just silence. And the kind of grief that doesn't eat you, it grounds you. You place the locket around your neck. The chain feels like a noose, but lighter, more earned. You knew, but pretended you didn't. You return inside, place the lockbox under your bed, not to hide it, just to rest it. You don't need to carry it anymore. You sit at the table, shoebox beside you, letter in hand. You don't read it again. You just hold it, because she asked you not to come looking, but she never said you couldn't remember. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And now the lockbox is open. The mirror is turned. The door is shut. And Ava, she's wherever she chose to be. And she chose. What if you've been the suspect all along? She's not missing, you are. You return to the woods, not to search, to leave something behind. You bring the locket, the dollhouse key, the crayon, the shoebox, each item placed carefully inside an old canvas satchel, the kind you carried on stakeouts and long nights where your only company was coffee and unsolved files. You walk until the trail disappears, until the trees begin to grow too close together, the way they always do when the world starts to blur at the edges. There's no wind, no birds, even the leaves seem to be holding their breath. You find the clearing, the same one where you found her, or lost her, or both. There's no swing set now, no dog barking, but the dirt is still soft. You kneel, dig slowly, with your hands, no tools. This time, you want to feel it. Every scrape of soil beneath your nails is a penance. Every breath of damp earth is a line in your confession. When the hole is wide enough, you place the satchel inside. You don't bury it yet. Not quite. You speak to it first. I'm sorry, you whisper. Not just for the forgetting, but for the rewriting, for turning you into a symbol, a symptom. I wanted to forget the pain so badly. I forgot the person. You reach into your coat, pull out the journal, flip to the last page. It's blank now. Not white, not new, but ready. You write, she's not missing. I was, and now that I've been found, I'll never let her be lost again. You fold the journal, place it on top of the satchel, cover it with earth, slowly, no rush. You want this to settle the right way. By the time you are done, the clearing looks the same, like nothing was disturbed. But everything was. You stand, the locket still around your neck, the weight of it just enough to keep you here. You turn to leave, but there's something in your path, not a shadow, not a person, a small drawing, clipped to the branch of a tree with a red clothespin, crayon, a stick figure version of you, smiling, next to a smaller one, labeled M.E., and underneath, in blocky handwriting. This time, you didn't run. You take the drawing, fold it carefully, place it in your coat pocket. You leave the woods. The light through the trees is softer now. No mirror in sight, no ticking, no voice calling from the past, just your own breath. And for the first time in years, it doesn't sound like a lie. You knew, but pretended you didn't. But now you do. You locked the door behind you that night, not in fear, in finality. The house is quiet, not haunted. The photos stay on the walls. You don't turn the mirrors again. You sleep, And when you dream, she's not lost. She's not screaming. She's just sitting across from you, drawing, smiling, free. It was never about the truth. It was about control. And you finally chose to let go. What if you've been the suspect all along?